pegboards, AMRAPs, 11 minutes. It's all coming down to that nice big plexiglass pegboard you see in the background. Single arm dumbbell overhead squats, no issue whatsoever for these athletes at 70 pounds, but the heavy dumbbell unders, you can lose time here, not necessarily get you too tired, but if you mess up, that's about 5 to 7 seconds per set that you screw up. So there's not a lot of room for error in an 11-minute time cap.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Justin Medeiros, your overall leader.
Justin Medeiros is moving quick, a little too quick, 2 bobbles on the pegboard. And what you have to do is you got to understand is that you can't just pull the peg straight out. You have to do a slight lift and then remove the peg.
That is Alex Vigneault, who currently sits in 4th place. And back in 2016, when Matt Fraser basically went wire to wire, only one other man sat atop the overall standings. It was Alex Vigneault.
And that was right at the very beginning of the competition as we're doing the ranch trail rope in a deadlift, but he did wear that jersey for quite a while. But Patrick Vellner, he's been talked about as the heir apparent to Matt Fraser over the last few years, but in 19 and 20, he just hasn't had an opportunity to showcase that. In fact, the last time we had pegboards and Pat Vellner, he got a 9th place finish with a full field of athletes. So Vellner is one of the better pegboard climbers in this field.
Vellner has been on the podium 3 times in his career. He was dealing with a groin injury in 2020 during stage 1 of that competition, so he did not make the final 5, but he is trying to reel in Justin Medeiros here. Trails him by 87 points in the overall standings. Medeiros with 824 points, Vellner with 737.
Fikowski has actually moved up ahead of Vellner, and what I'm watching is Justin Medeiros has already tripped up a few times on double unders. BKG, one of those athletes that hasn't really been flashy, but sitting in 6th overall. Jorvan Goomidson was actually the athlete who spoiled Brent Fikowski's possible podium finish on his rookie year on the pegboard event.
Goomidson, Fikowski, and Lazar Jukic, who is coming off an event win. Jukic is on the right side of your screen. They are your leaders right now. Goomidson will move into round 5. Justin Medeiros in this heat right now is in 9th. He is towards the back.
BKG on the right looks very good. He's a very good gymnast. It was his background at one time prior to starting CrossFit. Now, we were talking earlier, Sean, is that we can't remember the last time we've seen Medeiros do pegboards in a competition. It is only his 2nd year, but we've had offside events, regional events, semifinals. But with his wrestling background, most wrestlers you would think were proficient at it, but that's more of an old school style. Maybe our generation or our dad's generation was all about pegboards and wrestlers, but he was a little out of control at the start of this event. You saw him slip a few times trying to get his peg off the board. So I think he just needs to calm his nerves down and settle into the pace that this AMRAP really is.
Jorvan Goomidson and Yona Koski are your leaders, along with Lazar Jukic, Brent Fikowski, and Pat Vellner. Justin Medeiros right now is in 9th place in this heat.
Well, he also got tagged with 2 no reps in those overhead squats, and it's not gonna make him harder. Again, you're just losing precious time, and we miss again on the heavy rope. And what you gotta look at is look at his straps on his wrists. When you wear your straps like that, see him flopping around, you have a potential of your rope getting caught in that. And when you think about pegboards, I don't think there's really a reason to need grips for a pegboard event. You usually wear those to get a better grip. And now he's not even using them. So the one thing that is screwing up your double unders, you're not even using to your advantage. So I would just say is like, you gotta take those things off and get back into competing.
Jorvan Goomidson, though, continuing to lead. He's through 115 reps and counting. Goomidson coming in 6th place overall. He has never been lower than 6th in the overall standings, and that is exactly what Jorvan Goomidson does whenever he is here at the CrossFit Games.
He does a good job of closing hard at the end of the weekend.
Score to beat is 276 reps from Cole Sager. Lazar Jukic is in 2nd place behind Goomidson, 8th overall. Jukic won event number 10 and went from 14th to 8th in the process.
Justin Medeiros is 9th in this heat.
And the two men who are immediately behind him in the overall standings are currently sitting 4th and 5th.
I said he had an 87-point lead coming in. If he were to just get 9th in this heat, to say BKG or maybe Vellner makes a move to get back into the top 5, he would lose over half of that lead in one event. And that's not counting what happened to the athletes in heat number 1.
We're past the halfway point of this event. 11 total minutes here. Cole Sager again with the score to beat at 276 repetitions. Yona Koski's on the left of your screen. He was your early leader overall in this competition. Koski now in 7th place where he has been for the past 4 events.
He's just not hesitating whatsoever. And to have the capacity is one thing, but have the confidence to pair with that makes you very deadly on a movement like a pegboard. You always flirt with that line of when you should go and when you should pause. Take yourself a little breather before you get up there.
And here are the overall standings. Justin Medeiros at 824, 87 points up on Pat Vellner, and it's Brent Fikowski just 4 points back of Vellner for 2nd place, with Alex Vigneault sitting there in 4th.
I like what Vellner was doing there. Is once he got to the top, he immediately straightened his arms and lowered himself, controlled but extended. A lot of times you'll see athletes lower themselves slowly, and you're just working too hard in the wrong direction when you do that. So Vellner's conserving some energy, allowing his arm length to be a benefit on the descent of that pegboard.
Jorvan Goomidson is back to the wall. He is in his 10th round. And Lazar Jukic as well is in round number 10. Alex Vigneault on the right of your screen is towards the back. He's in 9th as Justin Medeiros has now moved up to 7th in the heat. Goomidson through 185 now repetitions as he goes back to the dumbbell.
But he still hasn't run away with it just yet. You can see Medeiros, he's slowly moving up. He was in 9th about 2 minutes ago, and he's moving up to 7th.
Saxon Panchik, who came in 5th place overall, he's 11 points back of Vigneault for 4th. Right now in 8th place in the heat.
And this is that more controlled descent I was talking about. He keeps his arms flexed or contracted as he lowers. He needs to try to take a page out of Vellner's playbook where you just extend your arms so you're not using them too much on the descent.
Saxon Panchik had back-to-back 4th place finishes in events 3 and 4. Those are the 2 best results for him so far in the competition. 276, you just saw it, that's the score to beat. Jorvan Goomidson is trying to get as close to that as he possibly can.
Yeah, but he has some company with Luka Dukic just to his right.
And now Lazar Jukic and Jorvan Goomidson tied for the lead. Lazar Jukic won event number 10, trying to go back-to-back here in event number 11, as now we have 2 minutes remaining, and the dumbbell is down at the same time. Jukic and Goomidson tied for 1st place as Pat Vellner has crept up into 3rd. Justin Medeiros, meanwhile, is still in 7th place in the heat. And keep in mind, scores from heat number 1 will factor in.
He's trying to hold off Panchik and Vigneault.
Goomidson and Jukic neck and neck. Jukic gets to the top first, so Lazar Jukic starts his descent just ahead of Goomidson, as Pat Vellner in third is getting started on his 12th climb up that pegboard.
Vellner's about 20 seconds behind. Jukic on the right got a no rep on his first squat.
Vellner with no shirt on the left side of your screen will now get to the dumbbell. The score to beat is 276. The next best score after that belongs to Scott Panchik at 253. So second place in this event still very much up for grabs. Less than a minute to go, and Lazar Jukic.
Now see how fast he starts this last climb.
Jukic now into round 12.
He's going to finish this whole round in one pegboard climb if he wants to take down Cole Sager's score.
Vellner now into round 12.
He's 30
seconds remains. Now, right now, Jukic is tied with Panchik, Scott Panchik, for second place in the event. Now he is in second. 276 belongs to Cole Sager. 10 seconds to go. Jukic on the rope, looking to win the heat. And will get second place in the event. So Lazar Jukic showing up big on Saturday.
Back-to-back
first place
events.
and a second place. 269 reps. That will be good for second place in the event. Justin Medeiros will tie for 10th unofficially. That is good for 55 points. Pat Vellner will finish 5th. He will earn 80 and pick up 25 on Medeiros in the process. Stay with us at the 2021 NOBULL CrossFit Games.